My name is Mike Helwig. I'll do introductions after, purposefully. Mike Wessendorf and I have been friends and acquaintances for quite a long time. I used to be his parents' pastor at Crown of Life in Brutus. And I've been involved with Awaken Alive, I think, even before its conception, because Mike and I would talk philosophically about 18 to 25-year-olds. And he's always found a way to stick me with something. And like he has done every year, he called me in June and said, I want you to be involved in Awaken Alive this winter again. I said, okay, in what capacity? He said, I don't know, I'll figure it out. And then he called me a month later and said, I want you to do a breakout group. And I said, on what? He said, I don't care. And then in my clinical psychology training, St. Paul's Muskego has a clinic, and I was doing some work there that one day, and Mike was teaching catechism, and I was dealing with Clyde. We took a little power walk during his lunch break, and we got about halfway around St. Paul's Muskego. It's this beautiful campus, lots of places to just get a breath of fresh air. It was a beautiful day. And Mike goes, what are you going to do? I'm like, I want to talk to them about building their grace groups like we do at Awaken Alive and how to intentionalize that in their personal lives. And I said, in my parish ministry, in my high school ministry, now in my clinical work, I've learned people just, don't share this stuff, not here, not now, not everywhere. And Mike goes, that's it, that's the name of your thing. I'm like, okay, that's the name of my thing. So that's the name of my thing. It's stuck. Am I wrong about this?
You're right.
Okay. And true confession, I found this crop picture this morning. Because I go, I don't have a title page, because my next page was going to be something I didn't want you to wonder about as you were coming in. So I was like, this page is just a title page. We may come back to it, because in the last session we did. If you're an Elf fan, thank you. If you're not, sorry. But I have some of my favorite Christmas movies. I watch It's a Wonderful Life. I'm going to talk about that just a little bit. And I watch Elf about 100 times. One of the cleverest, funniest movies, but there are some really important moments in that movie that you may or may not have ever noticed before. Right at the key moment for Buddy. He got yelled at in the office, and he was running around, and he goes back to the apartment, and he etches sketches about why he's going to leave, and the close of that is, I don't belong here. I don't belong anymore. And you may or may not really catch this, but the movie wants you to understand that the next scene is him contemplating suicide. In one of the funniest Christmas movies ever. The same thing happens in It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life is built around the thought that Jimmy Stewart is going to jump off a bridge because of $8,000. Suicide. Suicide is way up. In my world, it's on the top. I have a church friend who's a farmer who saw an article in his farming magazine that suicide is on the rise in American farmers. They're the fastest growing candidates for suicide ideation. Right in the middle of this funny, cool story, but there's a lot, I think, going on with Buddy the Elf than we really stop to think about. How often do you straddle between, these are my work friends, this is the people I have an economics class with, that's my professor, that's my mom and dad, that's my church, that's my church I go to when I don't want to go to my church. These are my close friends. That was my boyfriend, and now we're not together anymore, and I don't know how to deal with that. And ultimately, you have all of these groups of people, and you become Buddy the Elf. I don't belong here. I don't belong anywhere. I'm straddling all of these important social things, and there are some people important to me all along the way. And I put it in the playbill. Are there things your mother doesn't know about you? Do you have a really, really close friend, and even that really, really close friend doesn't know everything? And is it important to our Savior God for you to be able to not carry that alone between now and the grave? And how do you do that? And with whom do you do that? And where do you do it? That's where we're going with this. Raise your hand if you've seen this meme somewhere along the line. You've already seen it. Yeah. Okay. Sorry for the small letters. Robin Williams is one of my favorite comedian actors, one of the most talented, gifted guys to ever talk in front of people or to act on a screen. And what you may or may not know about a lot of music and the arts people is they are all actors. They're good actors because they act in their own private life. And Robin Williams had a lot of stuff. Drug and alcohol addiction, suicide ideation, social economic problems, even though he's probably one of the most wealthy comedians to ever walk the face. He was one of the most talented guys. He was a good actor because he did it in real life, right? And he says this: everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind always. It got to a point teaching high school where every once in a while I would learn enough about what's happening in my Lutheran high school where this would be up on my screen in my religion room the first thing in the morning. Because there would be some people who would need this gentle reminder from PH. Knock it off. How dare you? And they go, what? I'm like, I know. Because I knew everything that happened in that high school, even more than the school principal did. You know why? Because everybody trusted me with their stuff. Okay. If I were delivering a presentation at a pastor's conference, this is how I would introduce myself. I'm number 6 of 8 kids. I'm a husband, a father, now a grandfather. I went to MLPS, Martin Luther Preparatory School, a school that no longer exists. I went to Northwestern College, a school that no longer exists. I went to seminary. I became a pastor. I did that for 6 years in Nebraska. I did that for 14 years in a little town called Hubertus. I was Mike Wessendorf's father and mother's pastor. I was Rodney's pastor for 14, 15 years. And then I became a religion teacher at Lakeside. And right in the middle of COVID, my daughter Miriam and I were sitting around the room being bored because, little secret, the easiest thing in the world was to be a religion teacher in a high school during COVID. All you had to do was be the friendliest online teacher. Here's some cool stuff. I'm praying for you guys. Go nuts, have fun, we'll talk at lunch tomorrow. Whatever that meant. And I was just twiddling my thumbs. And my daughter Miriam, who was at Wisconsin Lutheran College in clinical psychology, knew that I kind of had it in my heart to get my degree in clinical psychology and said, Dad, what is keeping you from taking classes? So I took 15 credits at Concordia, and after I got done with those 15 credits and COVID kind of got over, I found myself in the middle of a program at Bethany Lutheran College online, college right here in town. I am a student of Bethany Lutheran College as we speak, and you have to prove it. And I just started my last 15-week 11 credit semester, and by the end of May I will walk the stage. The next time I will be in Mankato will be to walk the stage and get my degree in clinical psychology. I currently serve as a therapy intern under Dr. Schoof in the Brookfield Clinic, and I was hired the same day as my daughter Miriam as a clinical health support specialist. She works at Strong in Milwaukee and I work at Armor Program in Brookfield. Mike, Abby and I were trying to figure out how long has Awake and Alive been a thing?
Next year will be 10 years.
10, so longer than 8. So we call it the faculty.
Yeah.
I think long time ago, Mike and I, somewhere along the line, have walked and talked and chatted about 18 to 25-year-olds, the bridge, which actually became a real thing. We were talking about the word bridge long before it was the bridge at St. Paul's in Muskego. And we were talking about Awake and Alive for a long time. And so I've always been kind of in that world. If I was leading a conference breakout discussion at Awake and Alive, I would introduce myself this way. My freshman...
Thank you for doing that, Mike.
My freshman year in high school at MLPS, I was 90 pounds soaking wet. I couldn't lift a basketball. I could barely stand piano lessons. By sophomore year, I was lifting weights, went out for football, played football for Akira Patterson's dad, and I was dunking basketballs. And people liked me because I could shoot a basketball and play. I was the president of the choir my senior year at MLPS, partly because I loved Eldon Hirsch and he loved me back. And one of the jobs back then for the president of the choir was you were the public speaker when the choir went out to talk. And Eldon knew that I could do that because I was the best Robin Williams he had. I could fake it. Because I was faking the rest of my life all the way through high school because I was afraid that I was probably more than a third nerd. And I was an OK Buckets player, and I love music and the arts, but I quit piano and I picked up the guitar, and Mike knows this. I started playing guitar when it was like uncool and unsafe to be a Wells guitarist. My first parish in Nebraska, I played the guitar for a Wave in a Manger for the Christmas Eve program with the little kids, and I got flack for it because it was too contemporary. That was 27 years ago. We've come a long way. Okay, I'm 6 years sober. The last time I had a drink was Easter Sunday, my last Easter at Chronicle. And I knew that day that was going to be my last drink. And I got a lot of help and a lot of people around me making that happen. And I don't even worry about it anymore. It's not even a thing for me. I forget that I'm an alcoholic. I have things I'll never tell you about, but I see a therapist to do that. And I have a safe grace group, which is what we want to talk about today. Okay. Super cool. Ever since Adam and Eve, Paul reminds us of this very important biblical truth. 1 Corinthians 10, he tells us about Israel's history, and he tells us this. All of Israel's history is to remind you, they are there for you. Don't tear your pants on the same nail. But if you do, realize all of humanity has been blowing it ever since. Adam could have been me, Eve could have been you. We would have blown it. And everybody has stuff. The devil has not captured anybody differently from you. I think sometimes when we make it to our church community on Sunday morning and we get there like this and we watch our parents and our grandparents nominally go to a Bible study and fill in all of the blanks and answer all of the right questions and talk about the Vikings beating the Packers, and when is all of this is a facade sometimes, I think, because I'm just guessing, and this came out in the last group. I'm sharing you an idea that was brought up in the last group. Nobody wants my stuff. I don't want to burden them with it. They might not ever understand. They might not get that I'm dealing with this. They all think I'm good. And Western, Midwestern, German Lutherans don't talk about that stuff. If your family is like my family, like, oh, we don't talk about that stuff. Certainly don't go to see a therapist. And we certainly don't talk about our stuff at church. And the pastor's the last guy I want to know what I'm doing. Should be the first. Talk about Buddy, talk about Robin. Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But here's the good news. The blood of Jesus Christ, his Son, purifies us from all unrighteousness. There isn't a person since Adam and Eve for whom the cross did not spend Christ's blood. There isn't a sin that isn't redeemable aside from unrepentance and unbelief. There isn't a sinner for whom Jesus didn't die. There isn't a person in this world that Jesus doesn't know intimately and care about, even if they don't believe in him. He causes the rain to fall and the sun to shine, even on the unrighteous. You and I enjoy a beautiful sunshiny day at the beach and go, what a beautiful day, God. God says, yeah, I gave that to the unbeliever too. They just don't know to thank me for it. The same is true of the cross. When's the last time you were in an arena of lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people? And you got to like, well, wow, there's lots of people here. Daughter Miriam and I went to Chris Stapleton concert at Pfizer. Chris did an awesome job. Super cool thing. And you're standing there going, there isn't one person in here for whom Jesus didn't die. The drunk guy that got kicked out by the police across the aisle from us. Those people, I don't know what's going on there. We're all here to see Chris. Behave, people. Chris, Jesus died for you. Robin Williams, Jesus died for you. Your professor that like won the day, Katie. Okay, so he will provide a way out, and you and I automatically read into that the blood of Jesus Christ, his Son, purifies us from all unrighteousness. There isn't an unredeemable thing in this world. There isn't an unredeemable person in this world. And you're not alone in the stuff you carry. I'm going to give a nod to this book in my clinical psychology. This was never a required reading, but it's a very popular book these days. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. He may or may not be Christian. He kind of shows a little bit of evidence. But I'm reading this book for my personal benefit, not for a class, and it's super wonderful. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. We're going to talk about David in just a little bit. He says social support is a biological necessity, not an option. And this reality should be the backbone of all prevention and treatment. He's talking about trauma in the book, post-traumatic stress disorder for soldiers, rape victims. Anything can be trauma for any one of us at any point in time. And when he discovered the things that began to work philosophically, therapeutically, and otherwise, he said this in his book: social support is a biological necessity, not an option. And whether he's Christian or not, he stole that from God. It is not good for the man to be alone. Now, God says that to set you up for the creation of Eve, and marriage, and family, and the backbone of a God-pleasing, Christ-centered society, which gets created before the fall into sin. He didn't say that because, well, Adam's a dumb oaf who wouldn't know how to cook the noodles, right? Or he doesn't know how to iron his pants. And so I got to create somebody who's going to be good for him. It's not good for the man to be alone, is a very simple way of saying we need community. We need people. We cannot be alone. We are built for biological necessity. It's not an option. It's a necessity. That was my sprinkle of therapy stuff. I paid $17 for this. Bob Kester is a well-grounded Lutheran biblical pastor, writer for, he's now retired. Worked with my father at NPH, wrote a book about agents of grace, and it's all of the people in David's life. And the book is not a hard read, and even if you don't buy the book for 17 bucks, it's not hard for you to study 1st and 2nd Samuel and go, what is God doing with the people around David in his life? Saul was good for David. Solomon was good for David. Absalom was good for David. He's got all of these people, and God used all of them as agents of wrath. Not a bad buy, not a bad read. I'm not going to go into depth. But when you have time, please read Psalm 32, and please read Psalm 51. And remember that Psalm 51 in particular was the one where David just says, this is the psalm I wrote after Nathaniel confronted me with my sins against Bathsheba and killing the Uriah the Hittite. Okay? So David had his stuff, and he was sick to his stomach. The body keeps track. Right? Your body is capable of letting you know that you're socially sick. When we hold stuff in, when we don't have places to go with it, our body keeps track of the stuff we keep, and we can become, what did he say? My bones wasted away because of me when I kept silent. But then I confessed my sins to you, and you forgave the guilt of my iniquity, and I jumped for joy. Even when the consequences of my actions, like the baby dying, gave him reason to get up, take a shower, shave, and say, that's right, I'm the king. I have work to do. I blew it, but God is a God of grace. Okay. David. Yeah. I'm gonna go here. Where's my folder? I was teasing Phillips about this. I don't hand stuff out anymore. I make you do it. So take one down, put it down, because I know I'll be going, my fingers don't work. As you're getting one of these sheets, or as you're looking up here, I want you to first of all ask yourself, can you find the name of this is called the blob people. My client 3 days ago I had, he goes, they look like gingerbread men. That's better than blobs. These are gingerbread men. Which gingerbread, oh, gingerbread person. You can't say gingerbread anymore, right, Rhoda? Which gingerbread person are you? I don't know if you read the playbill or not, but as you're thinking about that, what might your response be to the question, what are the secrets that you keep? After a season of keeping secrets, David said, my bones great wasted away. How do you navigate the things that you never tell your mother or even your best friend? And so we're talking about that here. A skill or a tool that might help you start thinking about where we're going with the rest of this is, who needs more time to find where they are at on the picture? Raise your hand if you're not done finding who you are. Next question, how many of you said, well, sometimes I'm number 14 and sometimes I'm number 1 and sometimes I'm number 5. By the way, I didn't do this in the other thing and I just thought of it now, I didn't do this in the other section. Number 5 is Buddy the Elf. Right? His little brother says, Dad, you don't care about anyone. Buddy cares about everybody. And Buddy was okay going, I'm in this silly suit. That's it. This is me. I can swing on a rope and be happy alone. I can be with everybody. I can be number 2. I can be this, I can be that. Buddy the Elf was ultimately happy being Buddy the Elf. Right? Okay. Did you find your person? Raise your hand if you said, well, I thought of 2 or 3 because it kind of depends on where I'm at. Well, that's okay. That's sort of the point. Last question. No, not the last question. The last activity before the last question. Last activity. Can you think of people that are important to you in your life right now, people that are important to you right now, that are in the picture that are not one of the ones you identified? Where are they? Where are these people? Who are they? Why are they?
Say that again.
Once you've identified where you think you're at in the tree, can you identify people in your life that are important to you and why they're that number? I keep trying to say it better and it comes out worse. By the way, you can keep these and look at these like 3 weeks from now and you go, oh man, I didn't notice that before. I've been looking at this for like a couple months now and I use this with clients. I did this to Miriam and Justin. Like, holy cow. Some of you know, Miriam's my daughter. Okay. I need bravery. I need vulnerability. I need people who are willing to say, Mike, I found my number and here's what it is and here's why. I need at least 3 brave people. Yes, sir. Seth.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like I think that's number 21. When I see it document ask, or I don't know quite where to start, and I'm just kind of sitting and I don't even know where to go from somewhere.
Cool. I want to be on the tree. I want to do this thing. I'm not like abandoning it. I just don't know where to start. I'm okay here hanging, but I want to get somewhere. I haven't given up. Yeah?
Yeah.
You said sometimes. Is there another one?
maybe 10 also, where, you know, I can be pretty content where I am, happy with life, you know, alone, you know, sometimes I'm just,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. We're going to talk about alone today. Yeah, 10. I'm safe. I got this far. I don't need to be 20. I don't need to climb much further. I probably will, maybe later, but I'm in a good spot right now. Fair, good, super cool.
Maybe I took Kate.
Kate?
Maybe I took it a little too literally, but I'm terrified of heights, so I'm probably like 1 or 2. Like, I'll help other people get up a tree, but I am not going in that tree.
Super cool. We talked about fear of heights, big thing for me, all right? I know that we're on a second floor, and I know that when we get to the staircase, I will go all the way to the right side of the staircase first. 2 flights up, I gotta be on this side. So yeah, flights is a big thing for me. Thought you were gonna say 6, because 6 is really cool.
I'm not getting that.
Okay, you're not even getting that high. You're going, I'm happy, I'm 1, I don't need to go up to 3. Okay, that's okay.
I'm 6.
6, okay. By the way, there's a lot going on with 6. I don't feel bad if you didn't pick 6.
So I feel like really strongly about 6 is because I feel like, not necessarily like I'm stuck in life, but I feel like I'm also not content and necessarily happy with how things are going because of the things that happened this last year, but I'm still always willing to be there for my friends, help others, and put people first. So like I could relate that to one of my best friends. She's just going through a lot, but I'm still always willing to be there even when I'm not okay and I can't necessarily help myself all the time. So I just put others first and, you know, have some other things all the time and so I'll be there to help you get where I am.
Cool. We see smiles all over here. This is not a smile, right? There's a lot going on with 6. I need to be embraced, but right now it's the tree. I'm aware of 7 and what he wants to do or she wants to do. I was number 2 for number 3. I helped 3 get up here. There was a 2 who helped me get to here, and now I'm here. I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm good. And maybe I don't even want to let go. I know 7 wants to help me, but I'm too afraid to let go and let 7 help me. I'm good right here. I did the work to get here. I don't even need to get higher, but I'm okay being in the tree with everyone. Cool. And I remember the stuff that happened to get me here. I'm biased about number 6 because I think number 6 is sometimes one of mine. There were definitely times in my life when I'm number 6. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I'd say I am 16. I'm a pretty empathetic person, and if other people are happy, I'm happy too. And I have a lot of friends that I'd like to surround myself with and just be with, and so like, but I also would say I have like, I'm 16 holding onto the branch. I'd say I have a pretty good, like, I'm safe where I am and I'm willing to help other people have fun and be who they are too.
You just opened up 16 bigger to me because I've been doing this a while now, and I'm like, I was like 16 was very narrow for me. It's like I'm in a group and I'm happy, but I'm not the most important person in this group. Isn't it great? Like the 10-year-old at recess going, we're in a group together, and everybody goes, yeah, you're here, I guess. And nobody's kicked you out of the group. But there's more going on for you.
I'd say that the one you were talking about would be 9.
Yeah.
Because like they're there, but they're not there.
Yeah.
But 16 looks happy then.
What's the difference between 9 and 8? Yeah, 8 is out completely. Don't make eye contact with me. Do not look at me. Don't come and grab me. Don't come get me. 9 is like, I could probably, if 12 scooted over, I may be in. I don't mind eye contact, but I'm not happy. And I want them to see that I'm not happy. I want them to see that I'm not good. I'm hoping somebody will see that I'm not good. 8 doesn't want anybody. 8's got the hoodie on, right? Half of the people I meet with in my world now, their clothing is number 8, right? This is 60% of the high schoolers I taught. not here. All of our armor clients come into the clinic like this. I'm not worried, right? And then they're in group. We take their phone away and we make them take their hood down, and we at least try and make them be number 9. Anybody else?
Pastor Mike, I think this kind of tells a story. I was 15, then I became 14 after I let somebody down. Then I fell, like 13's falling. I ended up like 4, smashed on the bottom. And then some nice number 2 helped me kind of become a number 3 right now.
Thanks, Rodney. Thanks, Rodney. It's really cool. I shared before that I was Rodney's pastor for 14 years, and I can tell you that stuff that he and I know about each other is safe with each other and will always stay there, and there's probably stuff each other still doesn't know everything, right? And it's been 4 or 5 years since we've even seen each other. It's like yesterday we saw each other, right? We used to do our kids used to do a lot of stuff together. But yeah, it's the story, right? It's a storyboard. By the way, last group talked about 14 and 13, and that's the first time I've actually presented this and have somebody say, something is going on with 14 and 13. We had an individual in the last group share that they had lost somebody, not to death, but lost somebody to their group, and that they were 14 going, please don't go. I'm still reaching out to you. I don't know how to get you. I don't know what's going to happen to you, spiritually, emotionally. It's a storyboard. I know a lot of people who think they're 20. I go, I don't get that. I don't think you're 20. If you say you're 20, I don't believe you. Because a lot of the people who say they're 20 are probably really 6. They just don't know that they're tree hugging yet. Okay, now here's the thing. Not even close, not even like looking for this. Oh, okay. Mike, I promised an extra something to the last group if they got the movie reference.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. When? Where?
In back end is when Gandalf gives Frodo the ring.
Okay.
He's like, do you still have it?
Okay. So Fellowship of the Ring starts out this storyboard, and they're in Big End, they're in the Shire, they're the Hobbits, da 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 da. I listened to that music to study. I literally put on the Shire music when I studied. And then, boom! All of a sudden there's wraiths, and there's danger, and there's immediacy, and there's this huge, huge moment. And it's Gandalf telling Frodo, is it secret? Is it secret? Right? Who's your fellowship? That's where we're going. That's what I want you to pray about, think about. Start intentionalizing more. Maybe you've started to do that. Who are they? What are they? Why are they? What role do they play? And as you're thinking about that, and I want to give you some time, I want to leave our last 10 to 12 minutes to interact a little bit and maybe get even more courageous. I will tell you this. When I was at the worst of my worst, okay? I'm sorry I'm going off the screen though. When I understood this, people very important to me understood this about me. When I got to here, this person said, I need you to build a plan. And in that plan, I need you to build schedules, I need you to build goals, I need you to build pitfalls, I need you to build people around you who all have different roles. And I very much intentionalized that. I took that seriously. My therapist said I need to build people. I still have some of those people in my group today, I have newer ones because my life has changed since then. And some of those people's their roles have changed. But I have a therapist, I have a pastor, I have friends, I have family, and they know their role in that. My wife is in that role. And we've built some things that fit for her because the people that matter to me also have to have people that are just in my group that are not just for them, but for not just for me, but for them. And all of these people have a different role. And I can tell you, there are people in my life, not just my therapist, who know the stuff I haven't even told my wife. I wonder if there's room in God's created world and design for marriage for us to say, all of the people in my life have roles. And when I build an intentionalized confessing group, a grace group, a safe place, is it secret, is it safe? That it is a biological necessity. It is not good for the man to be alone. That part of it, as we walk together, that there needs to be a safe place for me to say, here's my stuff. I need somebody who can unconditionally hold on to that, where it won't change our relationship. And it won't damage our relationship. And I can know that that person from day one is going to say, I don't judge you, I forgive you right away, my impression of you isn't damaged, your secret is safe with me, I can do all of these things. And I have that group around me. And I can tell you for a fact that since then, I've been asked to be in a completely other group and serve a role in another person's group. And I'm actually, the role I serve in another individual's group is I'm that person they can tell anything to. And I know things that the rest of the group doesn't even know. And so one of the things that we want to think about and have you pray about and have you intentionalize, and I told the other group, obviously I'm here till the, I'm gonna start with this first slide and then go to the last real quick. So again, work, the church you grew up in, the places you go, the campus classes you're in, wherever it is you go, this is much of life, right? This is American Midwestern society. My mom and dad don't talk about their stuff. In fact, I would say my dad's not in my group because he's half of my problem. Not half, he's more than half of my problem. Just ask my psychologist. She knows. So we get to church, we get to work. How's it going? Great! Really? And my guess is for 14, 15 years that I was in one place for a long time, and I really did get to know that congregation quite well, and they got to know me way better than I ever thought I would let myself be seen and known as a pastor. You get to Sunday morning, and you just watch, right, Ronnie? You watch back and, oh, how's it going this morning, Ronnie? Great. That's what I would have said. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, or in here, who are your people? Saul was good for David. Absalom was good for David. Jonathan was good for David. And you know enough about the Bible by now to know that all of those people had played different roles in being agents of God's plan for David, being who he was, dealing with what he dealt with. So what I want you to wrestle with now and think about, and we can use the rest of this time to ask questions, to discuss what does that look like, how does that work. I'm in a group chat with the group that I'm in. There's a person who has a group around him. I'm one of the people in his group as his support confessing group. We have a text. And sometimes it's, hey, is everybody going to be in this area for this reason? Let's have supper. And sometimes it's, hey, please pray for me. I got this going on. I got that going on. I have a friend in my life where we have an agreement. If I text him just the letter X, he knows something's going on with me. And he knows the next chance he gets to drop everything and find me or connect with me, he will do it. No questions asked. Do you have a person like that in your life? Not your mom. Sorry. Not your boyfriend, not your sister. Right? Because ultimately you want those people to be in the group, but not to be that person, because you don't want those relationships damaged by what you might share. Does this make sense? Now that's an opinion, and I can't Bible verse you on that one, but I can tell you that that hasn't served me well. Spiritually, emotionally, and otherwise a little can't think of other Ali words, but okay. Thoughts, questions, concerns, curiosities. How do I do this? What does this look like? When can I talk to you privately? I'll be around all day today. Pull me away from something. I think I'm going to St. Mark's tomorrow. I haven't made up my mind about which church I'm going to tomorrow. Don't have to be in a hurry to leave town tomorrow. Sam.
How do you know, like I have a lot of people and I love this, like I know when I talked to you last year a little bit about this and you shared this and I went back and thought about it, but how do you know that you have someone who's going, do you have to kind of, okay, yes, here's the question. How do you become vulnerable enough to let someone know, I need someone like this and I want you to be this person, can you be this person for me?
Yeah. 16, maybe 9, maybe even 5. There's this really scary, creepy part where I have to go, I'm going to hold onto the tree with my right arm, and I'm going to reach down for 7 and let her, help me. The vulnerability in that is, I think it's very fair to say to that person, I'm thinking about a very important relationship for you in my life, and it requires some really important things, and I need to know before we go any further, is it secret, is it safe? I need to know that from you. I need to know that this is confidence, that this is private, that there's grace always, that there's no judgment ever, and it's okay to prep that before you let go of that tree. You can be 6 and go, yeah, I know 7 wants to help me, and I'm maybe even going to hold onto the tree with my right hand and reach down, and we're going to figure this out together. Walk carefully, walk slowly. And that's what I did for my person. For my person, I said, what we're about to do is very important to me, and what we're about to do needs to be very carefully done. Are you that person for me? Yeah. And the same happened for the person who asked me to be that for them. And I can remember the day, the moment, the circumstance. And to be quite honest, the person who asked me to be that for them was like, I thought you were the rock. I thought you were like the rock star. And the stuff that got shared is so deeply important to be quiet that nobody else knows that. Yeah, it's a careful walk, Sam. Yeah.
Can you be that person for somebody, like the person that you're that person for isn't in your group?
Yes. Yeah, that's that's a fair question. I think I get your point. The person who's that for me, I'm not that for them. And the person I'm for, that other person, is not even in my other group. I'm in his group, but he's not in my group. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Off of that, do you ever feel that because of that there's any not trust issues necessarily, but any hindrance and things to knowing that it's not reciprocated, or does that feel healthy having that kind of reciprocation?
It's good. It's a good, healthy thing. That's a great question. I think there's, in the end, it will happen anyway, to your question and your question. In the end, I've been in both of these groups long enough to know that here's ethics rule number 1 in therapy world is strict confidence. You do not share. Ethics number 2 is I'm not obligated to tell anything about my clients to anyone else, even their mom and dad, if it's not harmful to them. But the minute that it is, it needs to be. Rule number 3 is be very, very careful about self-disclosure, right? In an alcoholic's world, alcoholics want to know that the therapist was an alcoholic. So in that world, I can go, you know what, I know what you're going through, doing this is what I went through. And this is how I got better. There are very few other places in the therapeutic world where I can be with a client and they go, I have daddy issues, and I go, yeah, I have daddy issues too. Because in the end, that's for me and not for them, and that doesn't help them. Because grief is the same way. You ever lost somebody, and somebody goes, I know what you're going through, I lost my grandma. No, you don't. We all grieve different people for different reasons, different ways. So grief is kind of funny that way, where I'm not, as a therapist, I should be very careful about self-disclosing. They don't need to know my stuff, right? And same is true in this Christ confessor thing. The person I'm that for doesn't necessarily need to know all of my stuff, because I don't need them to have the impression that I'm sort of empathizing with them because their thing is so unique to them. I don't want them to give the impression that I'm false empathizing with them. Ugh, that's a big word. Rhoda, and then we know.
I love what you mean, and I think kind of an aha moment for me. When we're younger, we want that person to be our best friend.
Yeah.
Like we tell them secrets, they tell secrets, and then that doesn't work out that way,
Yeah.
and we're devastated. If we can switch our mindset to where they're just somebody I share this with, it might not be reciprocated. That could really help us resolve some of those old friendships.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Thanks
Super
for sharing
cool.
that.
So I've got my group of friends, and then I've got a smaller group of friends, and then I've got like my really close friends. And I wouldn't say I have one person, but within that group of 4, I'm included, it's the 4 of us are all that person for each other.
Yeah.
And so it's not like, all right, who wants to help him this week? It's like based on where you're at, and like that. And that just kind of happened. It wasn't ever, will you be this person for me? It just happened over the course of our high school career. And then, go to the next question. I had something and I forgot it.
Think it through. See if you can retract it. I saw a hand up here.
Yeah, so.
Your name is Grace? No, Rose. No.
It's a flower.
Lily. She's in our blue group. Blue group rocks, by the way.
So, kind of hard, like saying what you were saying about how somebody has so much attachment to that problem or that thing that would make grief. I was seeing somebody for like a little bit, and he was always constantly saying, you know, this is what I went through, this is what I went through. If you don't understand, you understand. But I never said I do or I don't, because I don't feel as if I need to explain my whole life story to get respect. So that's kind of like a thing for other people I was telling. You don't need to tell your whole life story for someone to be respectful to you and to understand that you may have come through that too. But you don't have to share that to say I agree with you. But it's just more listening and understanding. But I still never, I was not in my life anymore. But it's just like I never got that respect because I felt like I had to say, yeah, I agree with you, or I felt that with him to be able to have an intimate.
There's so much in there, Lily. One, when I'm that person for somebody else, I have to remember my 2 ears and my heart of prayer, not what I'm going to say back. Not even looking for what I'm going to say that is going to help, but that they listened and that I validated, that I hear you saying this is therapy too. Right? I hear you saying this. That's all. But they just needed to know that you understood what they're saying, not that you had the solution. And the other thing is and I kind of said this before, there's no reason to be hypocritical in our empathy, right? There's no reason to do that. And there's no reason for someone to go, woe is me, you have no clue, nobody knows the trouble I've been, that's an old song, right? And everybody went, yeah, nobody cares, right? I'm more concerned about 8 than I'm about 9, because 9 is kind of going, don't you see how bad I have it over here? Somebody come and help me. where Abe is going, I don't know. I think I kind of want somebody to tap me on the shoulder at the playground. Did I? You made some super valid points and then I just took it up. Your time. Time? We have time or time is up?
Technically, you're at time.
At time. Okay, let's go. Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks for coming. You like could have found out.